Have you ever dated someone knowing it wasn't going anywhere? Believe it or not, there's value in relationships with people who aren't actually the one. We've all heard the saying that you've got to kiss some frogs to find your prince, so our experts are here to explain why those guys can actually teach us some important lessons. So Adelle, you wrote this list for the Huffington Post, the 5 men that every woman needs to meet but not marry. Number 1, and we actually did something pretty fun with this one. We picked out celebrity males who we thought fit the bill for each of these. So if you're watching, we can give you a little context for these things. Cool. So number 1 is the one who never wanted to commit until he met you. And for this one, we of course picked Russell Brand. I think we have a photo of Russell that we can show. There he is. So he is total Hollywood bad boy, but then suddenly commits to Katy Perry. Everyone is surprised, but that didn't work out. Right. What can we learn from this kind of guy?
Well, I think that it's like the person who wrote in pointed out that one of the things we learn is to appreciate the difference between that guy and a guy who really wants to be in a relationship and make it work. I mean, I know for me, I came up with that guy because someone I dated years and years ago, at first it seemed like the best thing ever that he wasn't interested in a relationship, but he seemed to like me so much, he wanted to change his whole lifestyle. It was so flattering, and that can be intoxicating. Yet it was so dangerous because as soon as he found out that I wasn't perfect, I'm certainly not, and our relationship wasn't perfect, I could just feel him losing interest. He was just like, wait, I signed up for this perfect thing, and it felt horrible, just horrible.
Number 2 on this list, the guy who knows everyone. I mean, everyone in town. And of course, we are in New York, so we thought of Derek Jeter. He's dated supermodels. He's like the mayor of New York. Every restaurant and bar he goes into, he is just the man. So what is the benefit of dating a guy like this?
Well, I think there's a great benefit in knowing a guy like this and having this guy as your friend. If you're lucky enough to be his friend, there's so many benefits that he can help you get a table at the hot new restaurant. He just knows everyone. When you need a referral to a doctor, he's the guy to go to. And he's a great person to have as a friend. The problem, I think, in dating or marrying this guy is that his social life, his web of connections takes so much time to develop that he is always on his phone. He's always on his computer. He's always answering texts. So every time if you're having dinner with him, you want a romantic moment, he's not entirely there because he's so busy being a really good friend to all these other people. And he's a great person to know. He's a great person to have on your side as a friend. But unless you're the type of person who's cool with being with a person who's always sort of half engaged someplace else, and maybe you're super social too, then by all means go for it. But I think for many of us, that would be difficult after a while, to be with a guy who's never 100% there.
So number 3 on the list is the guy that I think that you date after you've dated the committophobe who committed and then dumped you, and the Derek Jeter who is Mr. Popular. You date the funny, charming, sensitive guy who pouts and says nothing when you ask him if something is wrong. And for this, we put with Jason Segel. This is not an insult, Jason Segel. You are funny and charming and sensitive and fabulous. But those people can kind of be a little bit of a pushover. You would think that all of these qualities would make a lasting relationship. Why, in this particular instance, does this not tend to work out?
Well, I think it's because no matter how many good qualities a person has, whether male or female, the ability to be honest when something is wrong, when something bothers you, I think is just so important for any relationship. The person can be amazing, the funniest, most brilliant person ever, but you're gonna piss him off now and again because you're human, because that's what we do. We're not perfect. And I felt, for me, it took me years of dating to learn this, that more important than any of these qualities on paper is to be with a person who's capable of saying, of telling me when I did something that bothered him. And sometimes it's really embarrassing, the kinds of things you have to tell your partner that you know, I'm kind of pissed off because you made a joke in front of our friends that hurt my feelings a little bit. It's hard to say, it's embarrassing.
So number 4 on our list, the guy who is so good looking or wealthy or successful that your friends are in awe. And who better for this one than the man himself, George Clooney. Dr. Amola, this is a situation where it looks great on paper, he looks great as arm candy, and it's impressive, it's flattering that someone like this would want to date you, but why doesn't that make a lasting relationship?
it doesn't make a lasting relationship because he doesn't want it to be a lasting relationship. And so this is where it's real important to simply observe and get to know the man that you're with. Very often what happens is women think, oh, but if he gets to know me, if he likes me, he falls in love with me, he's going to change. You know what? If he doesn't want to change, Jesus can come off the cross. He ain't changing.
So 5 on the list, the last one. The earnest, bright-eyed younger man who adores you. We have Ashton Kutcher. We all know that did not end well. This, to me, just very puppy. It's very puppy-like. Earnest, bright-eyed, adores you kind of personality. Seems like it's great for a time, but then would get really, really, really irritating. Is that the problem, Dr. Amola?
Absolutely. And I think the thing you're going to see the common thread with all these relationships, and Adelle kind of touched on it a little bit, is that there are two things we're ultimately looking for from a happy and successful relationship. It's that we want to be happy, but we also want to be fulfilled. And very often, these other guys, these types of relationships are happy. They're intoxicating, as you said, Caitlyn. But it never leads to the long-term happy and fulfilling relationship we desire. So the key is to realize, do you want to give up the good to go for the great?